Before I ever stepped foot overseas, or even had much of a desire to travel very far, I was assigned to watch the film adaptation of the book The Ugly American for a class in college. The class was dedicated to studying political film's major real-world value, their right, and there were a number on the assigned list that were less than glowing commentaries on America and Americans abroad. By the time we got around to watching The Ugly American, I knew what to expect and was prepared to reject most of what I heard as Hollywood hyperbole. Granted, living abroad was something I'd never done up until this point, so I really didn't have any relevant personal evidence to refute anything I heard. As expected, The Ugly American focused on the insensitive behavior of American diplomats living abroad with regard to local languages and customs. It didn't make sense to me. I'd never seen my fellow Americans behave in the way the film portrayed our diplomats, and surely trained American government personnel would know better and represent us in a dignified manner overseas, right? A few years after that class, I had my first experience living abroad. First stop, China. But now several years later I've touched half of Southeast Asia. Conclusion. Some Westerners who living abroad foreign countries are certified jerks. Far too many Westerners abroad, the drunken loud, disrespectful stereotype rings true. It's nowhere near 100%, as some films would suggest, and it may not even be a majority of Westerners, but it only takes a few bad apples to spoil the bunch, in the eyes of non-Westerner. You can insert Westerner and the West every time it specifies Americans or America because it applies to more than just the US. So if living abroad is in your future book, the trend with a little added courtesy toward your foreign hosts. Whenever possible, conduct yourself as if you were at Grandma's house and you are all too familiar with Grandpa's belt. When in doubt, here's 5 rules to live by. 1. Kill them with kindness. Chances are you are living abroad in a place where foreigners have already scorched the earth with cultural offenses, and even if it's virgin territory, you are presumed to be Patrick Bateman from the film American Psycho, because that's the extent of their exposure to the West. 3. Try weird foods. When did we become such wimps in this area? I presume it started when eating sugar-coated chunks of gluten, floating in nutritionally zapped milk, became a breakfast staple, but I digress. If there's one thing all cultures have in common, it's that we all love our own food and are very proud of it. We also like to talk about how good our food is, even when we are not eating. Unless you have an allergy that can kill you, try first and ask questions later, but at least try. Chances are you'll like more things than you think, and your appreciation for their food is the true way to win hearts and minds. 4. Be patient. Nothing anywhere in the world moves at the same speed as things do in the West. We have high standards for quality and efficiency that will likely not be met overseas. Breathe and embrace the slower pace for once. You'll live. 5. All eyes on you. Everything you do is magnified overseas. Your mannerisms, your pace, your tone of voice are all being analyzed constantly because you look different, and people are naturally curious about you. Act as if you are on stage, and your performance determines to a large extent how your home country will be viewed. That's a mighty burden, but also an honor. Be gentle and polite as can be. 4 guys, practice chivalry. It might be a dying art in the West, but it speaks volumes about your character abroad. Practice your inner boy or girl scout, and we might be able to spend a few billion less bribing countries not to hate us. Without a doubt, go see the world. Living abroad will enchant you beyond your wildest dreams. Follow just a little bit of my unsolicited advice, and you'll make human connections in faraway lands that will last a lifetime. Count on it.